Marine protected areas, the national parks of the ocean. Marine protected areas are areas set aside from human interaction that enforce laws made to preserve biodiversity, protect, and rehabilitate damaged marine ecosystems.
There are several benefits to employing MPAs, and not just relating to conservation efforts. First, we'll look at the non-fishery benefits. Some of these pros include diversifying economic activities by encouraging the economy to find other sources of profit. So, in other words, broadening the economy. MPAs can foster tourism, which is often a popular avenue of profit for economically struggling countries. It can also take on some of the weight that exporting seafood has on the economy. MPAs also require several management positions, most of which can get the local community involved and provide them with much needed jobs. And finally, another non-fishery benefit is better access to renewable and non-renewable sources. Now, there are also several fishery and environmental benefits to mention, beginning with the fishery benefits. Successfully managed MPAs can result in the reopening of the area to fishing once again in the future. And in addition to catch limits, it can become a sustainable source of profit for the economy. This also has the potential for the allowance of recreational and sport fishing as well in the future. MPAs can also improve spawning conditions, resulting in a higher abundance of fish. And finally, the last fishery benefit I will talk about is the spillover effect MPAs have on their surrounding environment. Adult and juvenile fish that have grown up within the protection of the NPA may leave at some point to areas where fishing is allowed and they're not protected anymore. This creates the spillover effect that benefits fishermen nearby. If we turn to environmental benefits, I have included 3 out of the many pros. Strategically placed MPAs can protect keystone species and dominant species, prevent the extinction or decimation of species. For instance, the Atlantic Northwest cod stocks could have used this protection, and maximize the resilience of the area to environmental disasters and events that we cannot prevent or control that may come in the future.
Unfortunately, however, not all MPAs are perfect, and there are many things that management of current and new MPAs must consider when establishing MPAs that will have a lasting positive impact. First, location matters. No MPA is an island. If we degrade the waters around protected areas, then they lose their value. Additionally, if an MPA is located in a place of high environmental stress, it will be less effective than areas of low stress, effectively reducing its impact. Further, many large MPAs have been placed in open ocean areas. Although better for businesses along the coast, this actually diminishes the impact of the MPA. This is because most pollutants and stressors affecting marine systems are found in coastal regions, where there is a high density of humans. Therefore, the most beneficial MPAs would actually be in these areas. Finally, involving the local community in MPA designation is crucial. When community opinions have been incorporated, the locals will be much more likely to support efforts. Moreover, for those whose livelihoods are impacted, jobs in enforcing MPA restrictions could be provided to make up the loss.
Our opinion on MPAs. MPAs are not only beneficial, but they're necessary for the restoration and protection of marine ecosystems. The recovery and maintenance of trophic cascades is detrimental to the well-being of the environment at large, and MPAs are an effective way to encourage just that. However, MPAs alone will not be enough. We must also focus on mitigating the effects of climate change, pollution, nutrient runoff, and fisheries in nearby vicinities as well. So, how can you help? You can begin by pushing lawmakers to take conservation efforts into consideration while creating new legislation. You can also try to limit your use of plastic by bringing reusable bags to the grocery store, investing in reusable water bottles, and not eating takeout as much. And you can also try to use more eco-friendly forms of transportation, for example, carpooling with friends or using public transportation.
Another way you can help is by switching to local produce and fish products. This cuts down on carbon emissions that are used in transportation, helps local farmers and fishermen, promotes more sustainable practices, reduces the impact of commercial fisheries, and reduces bycatch. Of course, the greatest thing you can do is educate yourself and those around you. Be sure to share this video and keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching.